Have you ever felt outmaneuvered in your own life? Have you watched someone dominate a room with nothing more than a look while you struggle to even be heard? Have you ever left a discussion, playing it back in your mind, realizing they reshaped your words with a grin you didn't know how to challenge? That isn't accidental. It isn't sorcery. It is a calculated approach. Most individuals speak too frequently. They react too quickly. They surrender their influence without even realizing it. But you do not have to follow that path. There is a different way, a more subtle, sharper form of authority, one founded on discipline, composure, and ironclad self-regulation. Imagine identifying someone's true motives before they even open their mouth. Imagine altering the atmosphere of a space without raising your volume. Imagine occupying your position so completely that no one can disturb you. This is not about manipulation. This is about excellence, and it is ancient, firmly established in the enduring principles of Stoic thought. Today, I am providing you with 6 principles that will transform how you perceive power and how you project it. If you are prepared to stop being dictated to by the world and begin navigating it with total intent, you are in the right spot. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video, and tell me in the comments which principle resonates most deeply with you. Let's begin. First, achieve emotional tranquility. You have witnessed it before. Someone in a professional setting receives a difficult question they weren't expecting. Their gaze shifts. They speak faster. Their skin reddens. They rush to justify themselves, offering too much information, trying to prove they remain in command. But everyone observing realizes they just lost their grip. That flash of dread informed the room they were caught off guard. That isn't authority. That is a white flag. We prefer to think our feelings are honest mirrors of reality, but they are frequently just automatic responses. We react to unease, to perceived risks, to anything that pokes at our ego. And when we respond without restraint, we become easy to read. A person who is easy to read is easy to control. If your supervisor knows you will crumble under stress, they will increase the weight. If a rival sees you lose your composure when challenged, they will target your doubts next time. Emotional outbursts are the tells at the card table of life. Stoic thought is the remedy. It does not insist that you be icy or hollow. It insists that you view emotions as mere impressions rather than absolute truths. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that he ruled his mind, not external circumstances. That isn't just feel-good advice. It is a maneuver, because when you grasp that irritation, anxiety, and shame are fleeting waves, things you can watch rather than obey, you reclaim the narrative. Think about this. You are pitching a concept to your group and someone cuts you off with a mocking chuckle. Most people tense up. They might falter or try to explain themselves, desperate to salvage the moment. But the Stoic does not. He hears the laughter, senses the surge of annoyance, and allows it to fade without acting on it. He carries on speaking at his own rhythm, intentional and unruffled. That steady poise unnerves detractors and gains admiration. The group recognizes who is truly in charge. This is not about being indifferent or timid. It is about refusing to be moved. People will challenge you. They will scoff, dismiss, or provoke you to see how you react. The second they can make you wince, they know they possess a piece of you. And once you surrender that authority, you don't reclaim it easily. Emotional tranquility is a tool. It is how you maintain the advantage while others exhaust themselves trying to get a rise out of you. In a deal, the person who stays silent the longest frequently prevails. In a dispute, the one who stays steady defines the mood. When you decline to bite the hook, you reveal the other person's desperation. Most people never grasp this. They treat every minor offense as worth their focus. They justify themselves to people who are irrelevant. They react to slights from people they will never encounter again. In doing so, they drain themselves for no benefit. The Stoic path is intensely efficient. Keep your vitality for what truly counts. Do not respond to every provocation. Do not engage in every struggle. Select your reactions with precision. This is the heart of Stoic excellence, managing yourself so effectively that no one else can. It is not about suppressing feelings, but directing them. It is the capacity to wait, to ask, is this worthy of my attention, or is this just background noise? That interval is where power lies. It makes you harder to decipher, harder to upset, and therefore harder to overcome. And the reality is, people admire what they cannot rattle. They may not enjoy it, they may even dislike it, but they acknowledge it as strength. Because while everyone else is busy reacting, you are making a choice. You determine what matters. You establish the conditions. So the next time you are dared, when someone brushes off your idea, doubts your skills, or tries to belittle you in front of your peers, do not hurry to prove them incorrect. Do not let your heartbeat dictate your reply. Sit with the moment. Speak only when you decide to. Make your words carry weight. Prove to them that you cannot be shifted from your foundation. That is genuine power. It is not about overbearing others with volume. It is about becoming unshakable within yourself. And once you gain that emotional tranquility, you are prepared to move to the following principle. Because power isn't constructed on a single trick. It is built step by step on foundations that remain standing no matter who or what tries to knock them down. Let's discuss the second point. Allow silence to take the lead. In our current era, people cannot tolerate even a brief moment of stillness. You see it in every corner. At the office, when someone faces a grueling question and hurries to fill the gap with meaningless talk. At holiday meals where awkward subjects trigger frantic babbling. Even in simple chats where people fight to be heard rather than actually hearing. Most are terrified of quiet because it forces them to confront the unknown. They assume if they don't say something, they will lose their status or be perceived as weak. But that specific fear is why silence is such a devastatingly potent tactic. I recall observing a director at a high-pressure meeting being questioned about failing targets. Instead of pausing, he dove into a panicked speech, over-justifying, shifting accountability, and tossing out hollow vows to correct it. He believed he was protecting his image, but all he did was demonstrate he had no grip on the situation. The leaders in that room did not see guidance. They saw fragility. They didn't hear answers. They heard panic. That meeting destroyed his reputation. Silence, conversely, communicates confidence. The individual who can pause before answering, who can exist in that pressure without rushing to diffuse it, proves he is not shaken. He is purposeful. He pays attention. And people pick up on that. They don't see someone begging for approval. They see someone who understands their own worth. Stoic philosophy recognizes this naturally. The Stoics didn't value silence because they were timid. They valued it because they knew words are instruments. If you use them recklessly, you ruin their effectiveness. Marcus Aurelius wrote about measuring every word, about picking speech that fits with one's values rather than one's whims. Because when you say only what is necessary, people learn to pay attention. Silence is not idle. It is a form of action. When you go quiet, you aren't doing nothing. You are analyzing. You are assessing the environment. You are permitting the other person to display their goals, their doubts, and their angles. Because people loathe uncertainty so much that when you do not react, they will begin talking more, revealing more than they ever intended to. Envision a job interview. The applicant is asked a difficult question about a break in their work history. One person fumbles, hurries, says sorry, and gets defensive. Another maintains the silence for a second, contemplates, and then replies steadily with a brief, honest answer. Who appears more self-assured? Who would you bring onto the team? It is the one who didn't crack at the quiet. That is the Stoic strategy. It isn't about lacking an answer. It's about showing you don't need to panic. Most people overlook this because they think communicating is just about filling a void. But true impact comes from managing the framework. Silence is your framework. It shifts the light onto the other person. It compels them to doubt themselves. And when you finally do speak, your words possess gravity specifically because they are not common. This discipline is difficult because it is uncomfortable. You have to fight the desire to justify yourself, to be liked, or to fix the talk. But that unease is where the training happens. The Stoic understands you cannot control what others say, but you can control yourself. Silence is evidence of that command. It says you don't require their confirmation. You don't dread their opinion. You are anchored in your own values. And there is another reality people dislike admitting. In many cases, saying less achieves more. In deals, the silent party forces the opposition to fill the gap with better terms. In a fight, the one who doesn't escalate creates the space for the other person to show their own flaws. Even in social circles, the person who listens more is viewed as more intelligent. Because in our loud world, quiet is scarce, and what is scarce is admired. So the next time you feel the pull to interrupt, pause. Hold the silence. Let others expose themselves. Then pick your words like a master chooses his equipment, few but exact. Make them work for your reply. Make them wait for your view, because what is earned is what is valued. Think about this. When was the last time you regretted waiting before you spoke? Contrast that with how often you regretted saying something on impulse. I would love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and share how you have seen silence succeed or fail in your own journey. Because when you command silence, you don't just stop making errors. You direct the room. You anchor the dialogue. And once you can achieve that, you are ready for the next step. Third, be intentionally misunderstood. There is a quiet strength in permitting others to underestimate you. It doesn't yell, it doesn't pose, and it doesn't beg for attention. It simply leans back, listens, and allows the world to show its hand. In a culture that praises loud arrogance and non-stop self-advertising, this method seems backwards. But that is exactly why it functions. Most people are so preoccupied with proving their worth that they neglect to guard themselves. They reveal their strategies before they are finalized. They broadcast their goals with every sentence. They leave no room for mystery, no doubt, and no space for mistakes. And what is fully understood is easily managed. I remember observing a man named Alan during a professional workshop. He wasn't loud. He didn't speak unless prompted. When he did, his replies were short, nearly too basic. Others in the room smirked, assuming he was slow, lacked experience, or was unimportant. They failed to see that while they performed for the leader, Alan was observing. He heard every boast, every confession, every accidental slip. He noted who padded their achievements, who cut others off, and who tried too hard to be popular. At the conclusion of the session, when they divided into groups to tackle a real-world issue, Alan didn't grab the lead. He waited. He let the loudest members fight for dominance, suggest mediocre ideas, and show their lack of knowledge. When they eventually looked to him out of frustration, he presented a precise, quiet strategy that solved every flaw they had missed. They were shocked. He had been invisible until that point, but when it mattered, he commanded the room. That is the essence of being intentionally misunderstood. It isn't about deception, it's about moderation. Stoic thought suggests that you don't need to air every thought. You don't need to validate yourself in every single interaction. You decide what you show. You let others fill the gaps with their own guesses. In that gap between what they assume and what is true, you find your leverage. The typical person cannot endure being misunderstood. They will scramble to clarify, to defend, and to prove they are right. It is a reflex of the ego and self-doubt. The Stoic dismisses that urge. He knows being perceived as less can be a safeguard. Let them assume you are weaker. Let them assume you aren't watching. Let them assume you aren't a concern. Because when they let their guard down, they make mistakes. They overshare. They become easy to predict. Stoic self-control isn't about misleading people with lies. It is about knowing what is worth telling and what is better kept private. It is reading the atmosphere, identifying the participants, and never providing more than necessary. It is waiting for the perfect second to act rather than being tricked into reacting. Imagine a team meeting where someone rudely contests your idea in front of everyone. Most would jump to their own defense, arguing every point to prove they are correct. But the Stoic way is different. You pay attention, you nod, you let them think they have bothered you. that they have won the point. And while they enjoy that minor win, you collect data. You see what drives them, where they are unsure, and who follows them. Then later, away from the theater of the meeting, you quietly resolve the issues with the people who matter, fix the actual problems, and move ahead without noise. When the task succeeds, there is no need to brag. The result speaks for itself. That is the utility of being intentionally misunderstood. It isn't passive, and it isn't weakness. It is picking your fights and managing the territory. It is refusing to let your feelings run your plan. It is knowing that by being hard to read, you become impossible to hit. Marcus Aurelius observed that the finest retaliation is to be unlike the person who caused the harm. Do not meet hostility with hostility. Do not meet ego with ego. Do not show your entire hand just because someone demands it. Stay steady. Stay quiet. Let them think they have the lead. Because when the moment truly arrives, your action will strike harder than they ever anticipated. This isn't about pretending to be someone else. It's about knowing yourself so well that you can choose which parts to display and when. It's about being patient enough to let others show their true selves first. It is about realizing that in a world obsessed with being noticed, sometimes the greatest influence is found in what you choose to keep behind the curtain. When you master the skill of being intentionally misunderstood, you don't need to dominate every room you enter. You don't need to convince anyone of your value. You simply hold your ground, observe, and wait for the second when one well-timed word or act shifts everything. And once you grasp that, you are prepared for the next rule. If you found these points helpful, let me know by writing yes below. Your perspective counts, and I would love to hear from you. Fourth, convert absence into influence. In a society that praises constant presence, people forget that what is always around loses its value. Everyone is fighting to stay in the spotlight, to reply instantly, and to never miss a chance to show they belong. But the person who recognizes their worth does the opposite. He understands that rarity increases value. He does not fear being away. He utilizes it. I once watched a veteran partner at a firm handle this perfectly. Unlike his peers who went to every meeting, answered every email in seconds, and constantly advertised their knowledge, he picked his moments with care. He would miss minor talks without making excuses, hand off tasks that didn't deserve his time, and rarely spoke during the start of a discussion. At first, new staff thought this was laziness, but when genuine crises surfaced, problems that couldn't be fixed with shouting or politics, everyone looked to him. He would step in without fanfare, ask a few sharp questions, and provide a clear path forward that no one else had noticed. It wasn't that he lacked presence, it was that he protected it, so when he did show up, it mattered. That is the core of Stoic scarcity. It isn't about being stuck up or playing games. It is about recognizing a basic fact of human thought. The more available you are, the more common you seem. The Stoics knew that restraint wasn't just about talk or feelings, but about your very presence. Epictetus taught that to be truly independent, you must stop worrying about being seen by everyone. That isn't being lazy, it is discipline. It is a refusal to let the world dictate your schedule. Most people don't see how much they lose by always being available. They reply to every text the moment it pings, go to every gathering out of a fear of missing out, and dive into every chat to prove they have a voice. They think this shows dedication, but really, it tells others that their time is cheap, their mind is distracted, and their bar is low. If you are always there, you are expected. Absence, when picked wisely, forces people to pay attention. It creates space for others to think about you, to wonder about your view, and to guess what you are doing. It turns quiet into a message. When you choose not to justify yourself all the time, people have to fill in the blanks, often assuming there is more weight and more strategy than you ever claimed. Human nature hates a void, and in the space of your absence, you gain influence. Think of someone who rarely uses social media. When they do post, people notice. The rarity of their voice gives it importance. Or think of a boss who doesn't speak in every session, but whose words are final when he does. It isn't about mystery for the sake of mystery. It is about clarity of intent. You appear where it counts, and you stay away where it doesn't. This method also defines how others treat you. If you are always reachable, people treat you as an afterthought. They break plans, waste your hours, and make demands. They would never try that with someone more selective. But when you set boundaries, slowing down replies, saying no to non-essential tasks, saving your energy, people change. They come ready. They respect the time you provide because it isn't a given. The Stoic doesn't pull away out of malice or to feel better than others. He does it because he knows his time is limited. He knows that what he does must match his values, not the world's whims. He sees his focus as a valuable asset and refuses to waste it for the sake of looking busy. You don't need to be everywhere to have an impact. In fact, true impact often grows when you aren't there. Let others fight to be seen. Let them struggle to be heard in every second. You can afford to stay back. You can afford to pick. And when you finally move forward, your presence will have the weight of something special, something people move toward instead of taking for granted. Because in the end, scarcity isn't about games. It is about keeping your strength, protecting your focus, and ensuring that when you give yourself to a task, it truly matters. That is genuine discipline. That is genuine power. And once you have mastered the skill of turning absence into strength, you are ready for the next foundation of unshakable influence. Fifth, guide subtly through reflection. There is a type of strength that doesn't make a scene or demand center stage. It functions in the background, watching, grasping, and moving with intent. In a world where people think leading means dominating and the loudest person wins, this method is almost hidden, but it is often the most powerful. It is the Stoic skill of mirroring, directing others not by force, but by meeting them where they are and quietly showing them where they could be. I once saw this happen in a heated debate over a local project. Tempers were high, people were angry about changes to their street, and the room was full of bitterness. One individual didn't start by listing facts or arguments. Instead, he just listened. He let people speak their minds. He acknowledged their anger and asked small questions that made them explain further. You could see the rage fade, replaced by a strange comfort that someone was actually hearing them. When he finally spoke, he didn't fight. He recognized their concerns, used some of their own phrases, and then carefully pointed toward middle ground. The room, which had been ready for a fight an hour earlier, followed his lead without realizing it.